Okay, this story is just wild and just confusing to me. It makes no sense, okay. So ESPN, at the start of the season during week 0 when there aren't very many good college football games, there are good high school games. So ESPN, will travel to these high schools with these top-ranked programs and watch them play. So you say, okay, like I know they watched this team from Florida, St. Francis something or other, play like the number one team from Maryland. It was a really good game, and I watched it. They had two really good teams from Georgia play, and they have high school football games on, and sometimes when you're bored, you watch them. Well, okay, they had a game between IMG Academy, who is the number 2 ranked team on Max Preps, the only team higher than them is modern day. But IMG, if you don't know what IMG is, it's an academy where basically they recruit the top players from around the country, and they have a dominant football team, baseball team, basketball team. They're dominant in every single sport because they just recruit kids from all over the country and have them play then they make a super team, and they play everyone. So that's why IMG is so good. And so a lot of people say they're the number 1 team in the country. So all right. So they're playing this team called Bishop Sycamore from Ohio, right? And they say, oh, Bishop Sycamore has a bunch of D1 recruits. Okay, so this should be a pretty good game. Well, in the second quarter, IMG's up 30 to nothing near like the end of the first half. Right? This game it was played at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I believe. It was in Canton, Ohio. But this game, they're just beating the brakes off of them. I mean, it's not even close. Not even close. So IMG's, they're just beating the absolute brakes off of them. So you're like, okay, well, this game's over. High school, that's how high school games work. Well, near the end of the first half, the announcer for whoever was announcing this game said that he had no evidence that any of these Bishop Sycamore players were Division I recruits. So essentially you're putting an average high school team against an academy that recruits players and is the number 1 team in the country. So you're like, okay, IMG ends up winning 58-0. It's not even close. They clearly had mercy on him in the second half, too. I think it was 39-0 at halftime. I mean, IMG could have dropped 100 on him. I mean, it was not even close. But that's only where the fun begins. Because if you look up Bishop Sycamore on Max Preps, they played a game 3 days earlier. This game was on Sunday. They played on Friday against Archbishop Hoban from Akron, Ohio. They lost 38-0 to this team from Akron. And so you're saying, what's going on here? This is not a high school. So basically, if you look up Bishop Sycamore, I think it's like a place for like orphans to go or something. They're not like a sports, but they're like a recreational like high school. It's a place for like, I don't know. It's like a high school for like less fortunate kids, I think, or something like that. I don't know, but they're not really like a sports powerhouse like at all. But they played this game 3 days ago. So you're like, why are you playing football games 3 days ago? Well, apparently, this Bishop Sycamore team is not even a high school team. I read out that their coach has an arrest warrant, and their whole team is a bunch of JUCO dropouts. So they're a bunch of nobody college players playing a bunch of D1 recruits. And they apparently tricked ESPN because, first of all, why is this team playing IMG in the first place? Why? I don't know why they're playing them to begin with. And apparently, if you look at them last year, they didn't win a game last year. Last year, they went 0-6, and they played IMG and lost 56-6. So apparently, here's basically, so you're like, well, why is ESPN broadcasting this game for the world to see? Apparently, what ESPN will do is they will outsource finding these games to some third party. And this third party will go, here, this is supposed to be a good game. Why don't you send a few announcers there, send some camera people, and you can broadcast this game. Well, apparently this third party didn't check the legitimacy of this Bishop Sycamore team. And ESPN's just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll go broadcast that game. How do you know? There are thousands of people that work at ESPN. How do none of you check to see if this is actually a worthwhile team? Like you're looking up these players, you're like, who are these people? Like, there's no recollection these people exist. It's just, this was just a disaster from top to bottom. I mean, I don't know why this team is going out there and playing games against. I don't know how IMG is scheduling a team like this. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But this whole story, the fact that the fact that they were willing to play, that they scheduled 2 games within 3 days, the fact that IMG is even playing this team, the fact that ESPN got fooled into broadcasting this game, just an absolute disaster from top to bottom. But I just thought this was just too funny to leave out. I mean, this is just ridiculous and just hilarious. But, like, if you're wondering who IMG plays, they're playing LaSalle, one of the top schools in Ohio. They're playing Northwest Miami. They're really good. They're playing East St. Louis, the number 1 team in Illinois. They're playing Auburn, the number 2 team in Alabama. They're playing St. Francis Academy, the number 1 team in Maryland. Like, they go on this gauntlet schedule, but you're playing a team that, like, has a bunch of JUCO dropouts. Like all these, like, none of those kids were none of those players were in high school. None of them were in high school. They were all college players, but, like, JUCO dropouts. So, like, bad college players. So, of course, they're going to get whooped by the number one, like that entire IMG team. Like, IMG could probably beat, like, I don't know, like the worst FCS team. IMG would beat them. So, of course, they're going to demolish this team of college dropouts. I don't know, just a disaster, but it's kind of hilarious. This is just funny to me. IMG, yeah, I don't know how that happened, but that was just funny. I thought, like, I had to make a video on it, but hope you guys had fun. I'll see you next time.